Good morning. Welcome to the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts. I'm Jenny Booth, and I have the privilege of serving as your worship associate this morning. This morning, we share in a very special service. Today, we bear witness to the power and transforming possibilities of our beloved congregation in each of our lives individually, collectively, and in the larger community. Today, we affirm our commitments to the work and life of this church, and we renew, or perhaps make for the first time, our pledges for the coming year. Our service today will include a ritual of giving, and we hope you will participate whether you are here in person or with us online. Perhaps you have brought your pledge cards with you, yet if you don't have one, you will find pledge cards in your pews. For those joining us online, a link to submit your pledge online will be placed in the chat now. We come together as a church community, online and in person, committed to love, peace, and justice. Our core values are authentic connection, courageous action, love, spirituality, and wonder. Our mission and our invitation to all of you is to come as you are, journey together in love, act with courage, and transform our world. If you are visiting today or joining us for the first time, welcome. We are glad you are here. If you are joining us online, you will find a link to the order of service in your reminder email or just below the live stream window. Every Sunday, it is such a blessing that we can gather, so let us give ourselves to it. Welcome once again. It's good to be together.
It is indeed good to be together, both in person and online. So good to be together that Justin had to remind me to stop talking to you all and to come up here. It brings such joy to be together. Our call to worship this morning are words of both John Capiascio and Brene Brown. Brene Brown writes, connection. It's the energy that exists between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they give and receive without judgment, and when they derive sustenance and strength from the relationship. And John Cacioppo says to grow into an adulthood for a social species, including humans, is not to become autonomous and solitary. It's to become the one of whom others depend. Whether we know it or not, our brain, our heart, and our biology have been shaped to favor this outcome. And my words, connection. It is a place we all need and deserve. It is a place within and between us, called home. You are faithfully called to worship.
Please join us in saying our chalice lighting words as Heather lights the chalice. The words can be found in the order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together.
Each week, we also light 2 candles of peace, representing 2 places we lift up on earth and remember as a sacred encounter with our world. There are untold numbers of places on earth that need peace. And these 2 we especially hold close in this service and through the week ahead. After each candle is lit, I will say, "To this we respond," inviting you to join together in saying, "Peace, Sal, Shalom." Our first candle this morning is lit for all of the places that will honor Women's History Month this month, and for International Women's Day, which is celebrated this Tuesday, March 8th. International Women's Day, also known as IWD, grew out of the labor movement to become an annual event recognized by the United Nations. The theme this year is Break the Bias, asking people to imagine, quote, "a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination." We pray for truth-telling in the role of women in history and today, and equity for all who identify as women everywhere. To this we respond, peace, Sal, Shalom. And our second candle this morning is lit for the ongoing situation in Ukraine. We recognize the severity and the loss surrounding this horrifying situation, and we do pray and work in all the ways we can for the best possible outcome, for the safety of the most people. And we vow to recognize our roles and the best ways possible to respond to this situation. We will be making a shift on our offering this morning to support Ukraine and its people. And also, I wanted to let you know that Reverend Harold Babcock, who has an intimate relationship with our partner church in Transylvania, wants us all to know that they are okay, that they are close to the border, and know there will be refugees, and pray that that is the extent of anything that will happen. But at this moment, they are okay. To this we respond, peace, Sal, Shalom. And now in the fullness of life, a great joy. I invite you to join singing together our first hymn, singing together for the first time in 2 years. Please rise in body or spirit and online, and let's join together in number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing.
Sing thy praise, sing of mercy.
Please remain standing and let's join together in our affirmation of faith and doxology. The words are found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mara Flynn. I'm the Director of Children's Ministry. These are some of the children of Young Church. This is our first time for all ages in the sanctuary in 2 years. Yes. So, how's this look to you, Maggie? You guys can sit on the stairs, and you can face everyone with your signs. You can hold your, that's perfect, yes, and that's upside down. Perfect. Beautiful. Today, Young Church is sharing a poem written by Amanda Gorman. It's called Change Sings, a children's anthem.
I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest songs. I don't fear change coming, so I sing along. I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers. I'm a chant that rises and rings. There is hope where my change sings. Though some don't understand it, those windmills of mystery, I sing with the planet and its hills and of its histories.
I hum with 100 hearts, each of us lifting a hand. I use my strengths and my smarts, take a knee to make a stand. I'm bright as the light each day brings. There is love where my change sings. I show others tolerance, though it may take some courage. I don't make a taller fence, but fight to build a better bridge. I talk not only of distances, from where and how we came. I also walk our differences to show we are the same.
I'm a movement that roars and springs. There's a wave where my change sings. Change sings where? There, inside me, because I'm the change I want to see. As I grow, it grows like seeds. I am just what the world needs. I'm the voice where freedom rings. You're the love your bright heart brings. We are the waves starting to spring, for we are the change we sing.
We are what the world is becoming, and we know it won't be long. We all hear change strumming. Won't you sing along?
Oh my. Yes, yes. You are the change we need. Thank you, children. It is so good to have you back with us and to see you all. Won't you all join now in singing our children to Young Church? Hymn number 413, Go Now in Peace.
This is the time in our service when the offering will be gratefully received. The generosity of our community is an essential ministry that supports the work of the church both in Newburyport and beyond. Each week, 50% of the Sunday offering not designated as a pledge goes to a local community partner engaged in important efforts to transform our region. We have made a change in the collection this morning in order to support Ukraine. Our offering this morning will be shared between Ukraine Caritas, which Ukrainians and Jews in Romania have recommended supporting, and the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, who is responding to needs in Ukraine. People in Eastern Europe have for centuries been subject to wars made by others, as empires battle over the rich mountainous mineral resources and agricultural fertility. Many of our Unitarian cousins and their ancestors in Transylvania have lived through such strife and have spent the last century as double minorities, ethnically as Hungarians in Romania and religiously as Unitarians. Russia's invasion of Ukraine may be expected to touch deep historical trauma for our Unitarian cousins in Transylvania and other parts of Europe. In order to give online, please use the link in your order of service or in the chat. You can also make a contribution by text. And of course, you can always mail a check to the church as well. Thank you. The offering will now be gratefully received.
This is a time in our service each week where we lift up the joys and sorrows of our beloved faith community. Bettina Turner, our pastoral care associate this morning, will light the candles as I read what has been shared with me in advance of today's service. If you would like to share a joy or a sorrow to be read in the service, you can always send an email to betweenus@frsuu.org or directly to me. And we also have our journal back in the services. So when you enter into the sanctuary, there's a journal each Sunday where you can write a joy or a sorrow, and it will be shared. This morning, we light a candle in memory of Nancy Davis, age 74, who passed away peacefully on Sunday, February 13th. Nancy is remembered fondly by her husband, Roger Burgess, by her daughter, Carrie Krebs, son-in-law, David Krebs, and grandchildren, Marilyn Krebs, Caitlin Krebs, and Nicholas Krebs. Nancy enjoyed many wonderful and fun times at FRSUU, whether seeing her grandchildren dedicated, hearing her grandchildren sing in the youth choir, or attending numerous candlelight and weekly services. Renee and Stephen Wolf Foster ask that a candle of comfort be lit for Renee's mother, Charlotte McCard, whose husband, Hank, of 64 years, passed away on Friday, March 4th. We, of course, light a candle of remembrance and of solidarity with Ukraine. And with all of this, we light some candles of joy. We light a candle of joy as the congregation and I shared our 4-year anniversary last week for the installation service that some of you were here for. It was 5 years ago that the search committee and I had been in conversation. And we also light a candle of joy to be singing together again and to have our young children with us in the service. And we light one final candle for all the sorrows and all the joys, although unnamed, that are held in our hearts and are just as important. I invite you now to join with me in a spirit of prayer, meditation, and centering, as we feel the connectedness of all of us in this beloved church community, as we feel the connectedness of those who are present in the sanctuary, in body and in blessed memory, as we feel the connection with those who are online, perhaps living further away, perhaps immunocompromised, or needing to be at home for any number of reasons, as we feel the connection with those in Ukraine and Transylvania, with our family and friends everywhere, with our Afghan family living next door. The connections are numerous and infinite. And I invite us now to sit together, conscious of this connection, in silence, allowing the silence to offer you whatever it is you most need this day. May it be so. Amen.
Hello, I'm Jeff Bard, and I, along with these people here, were members of the search committee that eventually led to the installation of Reverend Rebecca as our minister. Each of us was asked to come up with a short recollection from that search process. My recollection is, as we have said to our candidates in our ministerial search packets, move beyond the pulpit section. We don't need you to be a social media guru, but we do need you to be open to extending our mission in contemporary ways. Sophia Lyons was also a member of our group, and she can't be here today because she's preaching at her church right now. Sophia's words are, "You asked us to find a minister who could tend to your hearts, nourish your spirits, open your minds, and share in your longing to be a beacon of hope and justice in the wider community."
Hi, I'm Rebecca Brodish. Looking back at our mission 5 years ago when we set out to find FRS's new minister, I am struck by how similar it is to the mission and vision the congregation endorsed last year. We set out with this goal. We seek a minister who can cultivate and nourish a space where our spiritual lives are fed and expanded, and where each member can grow spiritually and find paths to help improve the world around us.
Hi, I'm Annie Moore. The challenge for us on the search committee was to find a minister who could strengthen our community and help us find ways to work together, because each person who brings to church a different set of expectations for what the church can be and what it can do. And Sarah Spalding, who wasn't able to be here this morning, says, "The congregation called us to find a minister who would get to know us, honor our traditions, give a great sermon, and challenge us to meaningful work rooted in our UU principles. The congregation asked for a leader to coordinate our efforts to make the greatest impact in the community."
Hi, I'm John Mercer. In several different ways, we were called through our choice of candidate to transcend our High Street legacy and our gorgeous building and become a more truly UU church in the streets of Newburyport and in the justice we seek.
Hi, I'm Steve Costello. We were called to find a minister who could lead us into the future, where we as a congregation would walk the walk. Someone who could meet our need for spiritual sustenance as well as social justice, who could inspire us with words, make us think about other perspectives, and join us on our journey. We were called to find a minister who would love all of us and who we could love in return, who would love our youth as much as we do.
Since I'm a teacher at heart, we're going to go back over it in a smaller form. So now, here they are together. The new minister had to be open to extending our mission in contemporary ways. The new minister had to be able to tend to our hearts, nourish our spirits, open our minds, share in our longing to be a beacon of hope and justice in the wider community. The new minister had to be able to strengthen our community, help us find ways to work together. The new minister had to be able to help us transcend our High Street legacy and our gorgeous building, help us become a more truly UU church in the streets of Newburyport and in the justice we seek. There's more. The new minister had to be able to cultivate and nourish a space where our spiritual lives are fed and expanded, where each member can grow spiritually and find paths to help improve the world around us. The new minister had to be able to get to know us, honor our traditions, give a great sermon, challenge us to do meaningful work rooted in UU principles, be a leader to coordinate our efforts to make an impact in the community. The new minister had to be able to lead us into the future, where we could walk the walk, meet our need for spiritual sustenance as well as social justice, inspire us with words, make us think about other perspectives, join us in our journey, love all of us and be loved by all of us, love our youth as much as we do. Taken together, this was a huge undertaking, but is what we were searching for, and we found it.
Good morning. I'm Renee Wolf Foster. On September 1st of 2018, I was in a grim mood. The feline love of my life, 6-year-old Sammy, was in congestive heart failure. My job responsibilities had just tripled, demanding 12-hour days, stealing precious time away from him. And I reported to someone who thought cats were sneaky and certainly couldn't understand why I loved him so much. We were at the Morning Buzz in Amesbury, our Saturday routine. Stephen had brought the Daily News. I opened it to the In the Spirit column entitled, "It's Not Easy Being New," written by the Reverend Rebecca Bryan. It was a week before her first sermon at FRS. I read it, and then I read it again, and after the third time, I handed the paper to Stephen, and I said, "We're going to church next Sunday." For context, I have never wanted to go to church. The only religion I had growing up was my mother's strongly held belief that God would get me if I was a bad girl, which is something I carry to this day, much to my chagrin. I have a very small family, smaller now. And I don't make friends easily. I often wished I belonged to some kind of community, so I tried to find one every place I worked. I am propelled by love. It has not always steered me in the safest direction, but it is a huge part of my being. I've always wanted to take care of people. When I had to leave nursing because I couldn't bear to see families suffering, I went into administration and tried to create supportive workplaces where people could feel safe and appreciated. And God helped me. I somehow managed to find jobs where the CEOs really didn't like people, and especially not people like me. I've learned the hard way that there is such a thing as caring too much. It can literally cost you your job. So I eventually gave up trying to find a place to belong, to be accepted for who I really am. About 6 or 7 years ago, Stephen would suggest that perhaps we might find a church community of kindred spirits. And my emphatic response was, which he remembers well, "Leave me alone." I have enough responsibility and people telling me what to think already. So he was understandably surprised by my announcement. And then he read the article and he said, "Oh yes. This is the part of Reverend Rebecca's article that changed my mind and my life. I believe that we are a people who are called by love and that we will be guided by love. What that looks like is something we will find out together. I do know, however, that it is more than just words. It is about action." When I read that, something inside me, which I later realized was my heart, shouted, "Yes, this one. And it's about damn time you loved out loud." I found joy in places and at times that felt nothing short of miraculous. That's why I've learned to believe in a loving, great spirit, and this was one of those times. So we went to church, and we heard Reverend Rebecca's very first sermon, and she hugged us in the receiving line, and we fell in love. We joined FRS 2 months later. We lost our sweet Sammy the following February. My job was eating me alive. Kristen Fellhaber was looking for volunteers who liked organizational development to begin working on the Mission and Vision Initiative. I wanted to do something to support Reverend Rebecca, so I volunteered. Poor Stephen accused me of trying to do him in, as this was very unlike me. I admit my hands were shaking when I sent that email. I had sat through hundreds of meetings in my career, but that first VME meeting will always shine in my memory. All these people talking about how much they care about the church, about the beloved community, about how happy and excited they were to welcome Reverend Rebecca and create an even stronger church together. I fell in love again and just kept looking for more ways to work with these people. I joined the VME core team in 2019, working on the congregational conversations to develop vision, missions, and ends. Stephen used to tease me that I'd wind up on the parish board someday, and I kept saying, "Nope. No way. I want nothing to do with church politics. I just want to support Reverend Rebecca." As it turned out, The best way I could think of to support her was to join the parish board. Yes, my love, you were right. I am now in my second year on the board, involved in the third VME core team and working with Reverend Rebecca and other board members on a new round of congregational conversations. This one designed to help us talk to each other about the topics where we may not agree, but take the time and make the effort to listen, stay connected, and strengthen our beloved community. I used to think the phrase beloved community was just you speak for congregation, and that Reverend Rebecca was the true heart of this church. I've come to realize that although she does have superpowers, she can only do so much, that the strength of this church and our ability to act with courage and transform our world really is to journey together in love, together. We're a tropical rainforest of beliefs, spiritual ideologies, and interests, and it's not easy to care about people. It's not easy to open our hearts and let others in. We have all been hurt and disappointed by other people. They can happen anywhere, even here. I come from a family that doesn't often try to work through disagreements. They just sort of give up on each other. We can't do that here and still call this a beloved community. We have to care about each other enough to want to keep talking, even when it's hard, to listen, even if we don't agree. It's Giving Sunday, and we're asking you to make a pledge to ensure the church's financial health. Please consider coming to one of the congregational conversations described in the order of service to protect the health of our beloved community. This is my beloved community. You are my kindred spirits. I have found you. I am not letting go. And as my father used to say about money, kindred spirits don't just grow on trees, not even in tropical rainforests. Thank you.
What does FRS mean to me? Hope, love, connection, love. Now it's your turn. I'd like to hear from some of you online or here, and just let us know what FRS means to you. Just raise your hand. Don't be afraid.
What Renee Wolf Foster just said.
I'll double that.
Mutual trust. Joanne Kincaid. I'm sorry, what is mutual trust?
Home.
The opportunity to make meaningful change together.
beautiful music together.
Camaraderie. Community.
Belonging.
Like-minded, loving community.
A chance to be aspirational, even when we know we're not perfect, and to accept both of those things is important in finding the path we need to follow.
A place I feel accepted and where I belong.
Hold it like that. As Renee so amazingly and beautifully just did, as Justin and Reverend Rebecca do all the time. Inspiration.
A place where things are asked of me that I might not otherwise be ready for or do.
A place where we say our purpose and our affirmation of faith each Sunday and believe it.
The sense of hope that comes from our children and youth.
Forging relationships of a lifetime that last a lifetime.
And from our online congregation here, I would like to uplift that they've shared that FRS means compassion.
Vern, can you do one more in the red blazer?
Comfort in difficult times.
Well, Reverend Rebecca, I found my burning bush by coming here, and I also want to say it's a place where my son Elliot feels accepted and loved. Thank you.
I want to second that. I also feel this overwhelming sense of acceptance for the first time in a long time. So thank you.
Thank you, Vern. Thank you, everyone. Really beautiful. It says a lot that a Giving Sunday worship service can be one of the most meaningful services of the year. Actually, I say that every week. And that's okay. Who's counting? Truly, it was unkind to have me speak last because I had to take all that in. And I'm going to speak off script for just a moment and tell you that you all are amazing. And I was so glad to hear Renee circle around to where she landed, which is to say, like, I'm just the lucky one. You all are the congregation. The best ministers in the world can't make a church that is not. You are what make this place who we are. I'm just the lucky one. My grandmother was a wise teacher. I miss her every day. She taught me so much. She taught me things like feel the earth every day. Feel the earth, whether in garden soil or beachy sand or crusted dirt edges. She taught me to love big, really big, and boldly, without shame. She also taught me how to know when a relationship is good for you. This piece of advice came when I asked her how she and my grandfather had been happily married for 65 years. I said to her one day, Lolly, because that's what I called her, Lolly, how do you do it? And how do you know? How do you know if a relationship is good for you? And this is what she said. She said, you know a relationship is good for you when you are better people for being together. And you let each other change. She said, she went on to say, oh, there'll be problems. There are going to be hard times. You're going to disagree. Your grandfather is not the same person he was when we married. It's a good relationship when you're a better person for being with the other person or people, and when you let each other change. I was asked at this point in our service this morning to share what FRS means to me. You've heard what it means to others. You heard what the search committee was looking for based on what you said, by the way. And so what do you all mean to me? And I'll promise to be concise. And I'll also say a little more because you don't just want to hear that. I'll start, however, by saying that you, the First Religious Society Unitarian Universalist in Newburyport, Massachusetts, you make me a better person and a better minister, and you let me change. You are a both and church. You hold each other accountable, and you trust one another even when you have differences of opinion. You do the hard work, and you remind each other to take a break, to rest, and allow others to step forward. You make caring for one another a reality in a way that few places do. You show up, you come back, you reach out your hands to each other. This congregation said in your search packet that you wanted a pastor and an activist to be your minister. We, and now I'll move to we call ourselves a church, a congregation, and we take stands as a liberal religious faith in this community and beyond. We love to sing, to learn, and sometimes even let it all hang out. We retain tradition. We are proud of our history and our ancestors, and we know we can always do better. I did bring a few things with me when I came here as your minister, including the Candles of Peace, started in San Francisco, California, FYI, tissues in the pews, and involving as many of you as possible in our shared worship services. I also brought my adamant commitment to justice and deep and abiding faith in love and goodness. I brought a desire to connect authentically and to know each other. You have made me better, and you let me change. You don't accept over-functioning from your minister. In fact, my car, some of you know, is packed. I am going on study leave this week. And I was thinking, driving here, like, what kind of congregation allows that to happen? It's the first week in our pledge drive. I'm just one person. You want me well. You will take care of it. You want me to tell my story and put my thoughts in writing. You urge me to have a personal life, and you respect my boundaries. And even though I am sure I sometimes annoy you with my adamant feminism, my open-heartedness, or bold actions, you love me just as I love you, and we love one another. We don't have to think alike to love alike, said Francis David, our Unitarian forebearer. Mark Nepo writes, on the surface of things, giving and receiving are about exchanges. But below the surface of things, giving and receiving become indistinguishable. And the aim is not to have or move things from one person to another, but to keep the gift of life flowing. We've been through a lot together over these last 4.5 years. There's a lot to be proud of and hold close. COVID didn't do us in, and in many ways it has made us stronger, even as we still need to grieve and recover. I preached at our opening Sunday this church year about the concept of this. Not that, not then, not when, but this. This time, this place, this hour. This is important, as is our history. However, neither are the end of our story. Mark Nepo talks about this concept of e daí, a Portuguese phrase meaning, and then? It is customary in Brazil to ask this of another person, regardless of what the person is sharing. At some point in a story, the listener asks the storyteller, e daí, meaning, and so, what now? If the person is talking about the past, in responding with e daí, the listener is saying, I bear witness to what life has given you. And so, what meaning will you make of this? Or if the speaker is talking about their present circumstances, the listener in saying e daí is saying, I see where you are now. And so, where do you go from here? What is your next step? E daí. E daí is our phrase too, my friends. I see where you've been, I see where we are and what we've gone through, and I see where we are right now. What's next? Even the very next step. E daí. Here is the beautiful thing about the answer to that question. We get to decide. We get to live into our values, mission, and ends together. We have the distinct honor to uphold the history of this beloved church and the privileged responsibility and gift to care for it and each other as we move forward courageously. And in so doing, we will transform our world, the world that surrounds us locally, perhaps beyond, the world that is between us, and the world that is within us. I hope you will join my partner Bart and I in offering a pledge to this year's campaign. Be you longtime member, visitor, new person coming. All gifts matter, not because of their size, but because each and every gift comes from one of you, one of us. We give of our hearts, our time, our skills, our passion, and yes, our treasure. I invite you now to take a moment and write your pledge on the cards that maybe you've brought with you. The mail was a little delayed. You may not have received your brochure yet. It's coming. If you haven't and you would like to make a pledge, there are cards in your pews. This pledge can also be your own internal commitment to giving of time or engagement or skills or passion, which means everyone can come forward. And of course, everyone online, I hope you will also participate. There's a link you can click on to make your pledge. Most importantly, though, write your name in the chat so we know you're with us today. And then for those of us in the sanctuary, if you would just come up the center aisle and go back through this aisle, that way the choir in their singing, which they will as we do this, can have their space. Please come forward.
Sing it loud.
beautiful. Oh, I did my best to respect your body language. If you didn't want a hug and I gave you one, I'm sorry. And if you did and I didn't, it's not personal. I was doing my best. Just take it in. And all of you online, thank you. Please rise in body or spirit, and let's join together in singing our closing hymn, number 1064 in the Teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home. I invite you to turn, those of you in the sanctuary, so you're facing the other side of the sanctuary, and you can look at your neighbors as we say together our unison benediction. The words are in your order of service. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. My dear ones, we are so blessed. And the need in the world, within ourselves, our families, our communities, the state, the country, the world, the needs are huge. So take all that you are gifted with, your gifts, your passions, your skills, the energy, the love of this community, and take it out into the world and bless the world with who you are. Then return again and be filled. Go in peace, my friends, and return again in great joy. Amen and blessed be.